This is the Barrett MRAD SMR. There's a couple different rifles in this line. This is the SMR, or the single mission rifle. There's also the other version, which is a replaceable barrel. It's going to have 2 bolts to be able to swap out the barrel for other barrels. MRAD multi-role adaptive design. This is the new sniper rifle or long-range rifle that's going to be fielded by several branches of the military. It's a culmination of several different personnel coming together and putting out the specifications of what they wanted. A couple different companies competed, and Barrett won, got the contract. So the civilian version is identical essentially to what the military gets. The military gets a package with the rifle that has the swappable barrel. They get three barrels. They get a 308, I think a 300 Norma mag, and 338. I was looking at this. I mean, there's a lot of different long-range rifles that you can find on the market, and it's a difficult analysis on what you're getting and what you're giving up. And recently I've come to decide that I want to take my time to invest in things that will last a lifetime or generations to children, family down the road. I have some firearms that have been in my family for about 35 years, and they were the highest quality that could have been bought back then, and they've lasted almost flawlessly to now. So taking that into account, making mistakes along the way of buying cheaper stuff, thinking I could get the equivalent performance, I sort of have left that. I've sort of left that mentality behind, and with the upcoming political stuff, it's going to be a lot harder, I think, for people who exercise their freedoms as far as firearms rights. So I went ahead and I purchased this. I got it from Gun Broker. I believe I got a good deal. I think I got it for about $300 under what most of the other Barrett MRAD SMRs are selling for. It's the flat darker. There's 2 other colors that you could get in the SMR line. There's a gray and there's a black. So this finish is absolutely gorgeous. This is probably one of the finest pieces of American production that I own. I own a Ford Raptor, and that's wonderful, but I would imagine that this rifle here can outlast any other thing that I own material wise. 10-round box magazine. These things are massive. These magazines can be used with different barrels. This is the C, so there's an A magazine, a B magazine. This is the C, and so this is for 308. I think it also holds Creedmoor. There's a couple other rounds that this magazine will work with. This is a bolt action rifle. Rifle is clear. There's nothing in there. So the military went away with semi-auto for their new advanced sniper rifle, and there's a couple reasons that they did that. Number one, I think it was for the recoil of the semi-automatic action throwing off following your shot with the scope. The second thing is you can control your round ejecting. If you're in a hide, or if you don't want your round to pop out, you can slowly back out your spent brass. So that has advantages. This design is extremely simple. When I was looking through the manual, there's really about 50 parts to this whole thing. The construction and the simplicity. It doesn't come with any sights. There's a couple things that are hard to find out from Barrett, because the specs are kind of written for the 2 different rifles, so it's hard to find out what exactly you're getting with the SMR. So you do get a 2-hole or 2-screw rail adapter. These are M-lock here. They went with M-lock. They like that better because they found that it had better torquing capability. The rail is tapered, which was a little bit of a surprise, but not a problem. You can't really see it here, but it says 10 mils. So there's a 10 mil of taper, and maybe you can appreciate that from this width here to the front width is very narrow. It comes with a muzzle brake. There also is a way to make this adaptable for a suppressor. There's some feature in here that allows an easier brake for a suppressor. With the carbon buildup for many suppressors, they wanted to be able to break that loose. So it does have a, from what I've read, a reversible ambidextrous safety. This is a Magpul AR style pistol grip. These are replaceable. If you have one that you prefer, you can pop that in. Pretty simple. Talking about caliber selection. Now, I purchased this in 308, and this is, I made the decision in December 2020. We have a major ammunition crisis in the United States. It's very hard for civilians to find reasonably priced ammunition. I have a lot of 308, so I decided that I wasn't going to be shooting up to 1,000 yards. It's become very difficult to find some of the more high quality rounds, especially when you get into the larger calibers. I decided to go with 308 and a non-changeable barrel. The difference between the cost of the SMR and the MRAD non-SMR, or the true multi-roll MRAD, is about was for me about $2,300. And I thought, well, if I have to buy another barrel, if I want to switch, that's about $1,300. And some of the Magnum rounds and the calibers that you can get are very expensive, $2 to $10 a round. And you know, the 308 I have, I bought it a couple of years ago, several years ago, and it's, you know, in many cases 30-40 cents a round. M80 ball, and for shooting up to, you know, 500-600 yards, that should be just perfectly sufficient. So I made the decision that I was just going to stick with 308 for now, and I could always make the transition later if I wanted to get another one. There's several people who own multiple Barrett MRADs. If you remember, Barrett became famous for their 50 cal, the ginormous, like 50-pound long-range rifle that has been used. And the military is moving away from that. It's just too big. This is still heavy. I think it's 16 or 17 pounds. So, I mean, carrying this in the field for your hunter or long-range shooter is going to be a pretty significant. So, the other thing about the regular MRAD is that it will have a foldable stock. So that if you're shopping around for these and you're trying to figure out, well, what's the difference? How do I know? Many of the sellers will list this style as fixed stock. So the other one, the higher line model, has a folding stock, and it also has an adjustable rest for your shoulder. There were supposed to be some spacers. I'm not exactly sure if I was supposed to get those, but I did not. What you do also get with the SMR line is you do get an adjustable cheek wheeled piece there, so that's nice. Some of the controversial parts about this rifle is this bolt handle here is plastic. So I don't think that's a big deal. I mean, it seems to be very durable. The handle itself is metal going into the bolt, so that's no biggie there. So just a quick thing here, different calibers that you can get this in. I think there's 6. There's 338 LM, 338 NM, 300 NM, 300 WM, 300 PRC, 308 Win, 6.5 Creedmoor. And I think they now also have a 270. I'm not 100% sure on that, but you can see the length on the one I have. I have the 24-inch SMR, so there is a 17-inch SMR. One thing that I spent a lot of time trying to figure out are the twist rates. There's a lot more advanced shooters out there that know exactly what's going to work for them. This is a 1 in 8, they're saying here. And the overall length for the one that I have is 46 inches. The trigger, they're saying, is 2-stage and it's adjustable. And I will tell you that it's a very, very nice trigger. You can see that it's machined metal, and it is adjustable internally. Here is the takedown, very similar to an AR. There's a button back here. You have to lock the bolt to the back. I find that it's difficult for me to do this with my finger, so I use a Sharpie and push this in there, and then it separates. The Cerakoting, the manufacturing, this thing is just absolutely flawless. Beautiful, beautiful construction design. There's a takedown pin here, and then the whole thing comes apart. So you can see this is the trigger mechanism. It's very simple, and it is, I mean, there's no burrs. Everything is just smooth, all solid, one piece. I just have to say how beautiful the finish is on these. There's no recoil buffer for some of you thinking that this is, wow, it really is like an AR, but it's like a bolt action AR. So this whole front guard, the whole upper basically is one piece. The whole rail is one piece. That's another thing for accuracy. The barrel is free floated. There is another piece of controversy here. There is a polymer or plastic housing for the bolt, but the people who I've let manipulate this say, wow, that's the smoothest bolt action they've ever manipulated. And it's part of that is due to this polymer housing for the bolt. So you can see the bolt here. It's only a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 rounds they fired at the factory for function. And there's a way to take this down further, but the manual says you don't need to for regular field stripping and maintenance. So the other thing about these is it keeps dirt and dust out. And the bolt, a lot of bolt action guns, the bolt will be floppy or hanging loose out the back. This doesn't have that. So that's kind of a nice thing that you can pull the bolt back. It will not be hanging out there like a floppy grilled cheese sandwich. Really beautiful, beautiful barrel. It's going to be tough to see. And absolutely gorgeous. The barrel, again, 24 inches long. So I'm extremely happy with this. When I got this, I thought, why did I wait so long? I mean, it's just so phenomenal. I just can't say enough good things about the manufacturing, the function, the way it looks, the way it feels. It is a little bit heavy, but the guy at the gun store said you have to be a bodybuilder to want to own this thing, and I'm not a bodybuilder, but I think it's worth the heft. I'm not going to be doing any long hunts and rucking with this thing, so that's something else to keep in mind. Barrett, I just want to do a shout out to Barrett. They're such an excellent company. The stances they've taken, the products they make, they're out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. The gun store guy thought that I was not going to be able to get spare parts for this, and that is inaccurate. I do live in California. It is ridiculous here, but I was able to get some Barrett accessories sent to me. I bought some extra mags. I also bought this extra rail adapter because I wasn't sure if the SMR was going to come with this, but I still felt that even if it did, it would be a little bit short for the Atlas bipod, the Atlas V8. So this is the one I went with. I got this from Optics Planet, and they had a little bit of a sale. It doesn't come with any sights. The MRAD does not come with any sights, so you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do there. I spent a lot of time trying to figure it out, and I ended up going with a Night Force, so I'll be putting up another video about that. I got some Night Force rings, again from Optics Planet. I'll be putting that together and showing you what I went with. There are trade-offs when you're doing this. A lot of guys will say, well, screw the trade-offs, just buy them all. But that's a little bit prohibitive for many people who are not professionals. Again, I strongly recommend every household in America get one of these. It's just a testament to how great American industry can be when everyone comes together. The price is a little bit pricey for most people, but if you buy 2 or 3 rifles, or you're getting into long range, and over time, I think it's going to justify the investment. They say buy once, cry once. I also got some savings from the caliber I went with. Obviously, that's going to affect the performance a little bit, but being in California or Southern California, we don't have a lot of options for extreme long range and I'm not proficient in extreme long range anyways, so it's more of just the long distance, having something in that department for me, which I did not. Please let me know if you guys have questions. I'll be putting up some more videos, putting this together. Please like and subscribe if you want to see some more content.